Minecraft came out 10 years ago today. On May 17th, 2009, the game that would shape my childhood, philosophy, and outlook on life saw the light of the world for the very first time. Anyone who's played the game for any extended period of time will feel the same sort of nostalgia that I do. Welcome to Minecraft, 10 years after, TeamWnJ edition. This is a collaborative project that I started for me and other Minecrafters to tell our stories, how Minecraft has changed and developed who we are. This is a platform for us to share our stories as individuals. If you'd like to hear everyone else's stories, stay till the end and I'll link you to a playlist with every single one of our videos. Now, to my story. For folks who don't know who I am, I'm Chafe, or Julian if you'd like. I've put 7 years of work into my animated web series, Levisleer. It's an entire fantasy world of full-fledged cities, characters, lore, economy, politics, all built into Minecraft. Heck, I even got to bring it to PAX 2018 Australia. But looking back to see that this started from this. The nostalgia hits me harder than an electric creeper on hardcore mode. But I'm getting ahead of myself. When I first discovered Minecraft, I was about 10 or 11. I found it because I wanted a digital version of Lego. See, building Lego stuff in real life was a big hobby of mine, except I could never get the blocks in the right shape or color. That or I just wouldn't have enough pieces. I remember building a lot of Lego figures for Halo. That's the game we all played way back in high school on our Macs. In fact, the first ever video on this channel was a Halo video. So I discovered Minecraft around this time, but going from games like Call of Duty and Halo, which had a clear narrative, objective, and direction, to Minecraft, that was rather confusing. My 10-year-old brain didn't really understand the concept of surviving in a sandbox world. I looked at some tutorials online but got stuck on step 1. I couldn't break blocks. I spammed the left click not knowing you had to hold it down. How many of you guys have done that? The absolute facepalm I gave myself when I realized what went wrong. Oh, and by the time I did, the sun was setting. I didn't even know how to make a dirt house. I literally used the coffin strategy. Except, I left my coffin open. I've heard of zombies and skeletons spawning at night, but I had no idea what they looked like, so I was incredibly scared. The entire time I was praying that nothing would jump into the hole that I was in. I didn't even think of covering the hole because I was scared I couldn't see the sun come up. It was probably the most excruciating 10 minutes of my 10-year-old self's life. But lo and behold, I started seeing light. See, I still don't know what the odds are of surviving my first night like that, but I did. I climbed out of my coffin and immediately dug a hole in the side of a mountain, and that was my very first home. Fun times, they really were. But at the time, I didn't really get it. I honestly felt more fun shooting up Covenant in Halo and messing my friends up in Call of Duty with my golden Uzi. I decided to step away from Minecraft. It was a few years later when Minecraft Beta 1.3 came out, and people around me were all talking about this blocky game. It's like digital Lego, was all I needed to hear to know exactly what they were talking about. Now, I don't condone it, but I pirated the game and created a new world. This time, I was armed with the knowledge of my previous experiences, and I knew how to break blocks. Yay. I also remember being stuck in a coffin with mobs around me, so I didn't want to go through that again. I set my difficulty to peaceful. I thought that this was the easiest difficulty mode and that mobs would still lurk around, albeit much weaker and much rarer. My class in high school quickly recognized my skill in the game as I had a 3-story cave house, a swimming pool, normal house, furnace room, boat elevator, and a minecart boosting system. Yeah, how many of you guys still remember that? I remember a time where all my classmates crowded up behind me and watched me play as I was stuck in a dirt cave, out of torches and waiting for the sun to rise. They challenged me to leave my bunker and explore the night. I took the challenge. We were all scared nervous because none of us had ever dared to explore the night. We'd freak out over every little thing that moved. We'd scream and run and panic because we thought we were getting shot at by a skeleton. But we were on peaceful mode. It really makes me wonder if new players to Minecraft nowadays still share these moments. Part of the charm for me was exactly this. Not knowing what was going to happen because the game doesn't hold your hand. It doesn't tell you what to do or how to do it. You're just there and you have to figure things out for yourself. Interacting with the community on the Minecraft wiki was the way to get knowledge. Feels like nowadays with tutorials and crafting books and whatnot, a lot of memorization and figuring things out was just kinda forgotten, but I mean, hey, what do I know? When beta 1.4 rolled out, we had wolves for the very first time. How many of us freaked out when we saw the wolf shake off water for the very first time? I couldn't believe that a few blocks that looked like they're from a game made from the 80s could make me react in such a way. The addition of the wolves was also the first time we ever had a follower in game. For once, we weren't alone. We had a loyal partner that would fight by our sides and keep us company in this mysterious, lonely world. Beta 1.5 was when I got my actual Minecraft account. Yes! At the time, I was a big fan of Yogscast Shadow of Israfel series, and I really wanted to take part. Many of you guys won't even know what Shadow of Israfel is. It was, at the time, the biggest Minecraft series made by the biggest Minecraft YouTubers.
What?
What the hell is that?
Whoa.
Get up.
It was hot stuff. It posed as a regular survival series featuring Cephas the Spaceman and Honeydew the Dwarf.
Hooray, Minecraft. We've created a new server and we're going to show people how to survive the first night. It's beautiful.
My god, it's terribly snowy.
Except it was scripted and other characters started joining.
God.
They discovered a village, trailed a villain to a city, and discovered a clumsy wizard and his brother, who turned out to be a pothead asserting so much dominance even Eddie Bravo would get jealous.
Swampy, away!
But, like I said, I wanted to take part, as did millions of kids my age. I asked my friend to make an account for me since my parents said I'd grow out of it and it would be a waste of money. I asked my friend to name the account Chief Dwarfy Dwarf, after Honeydew the Dwarf. My character was supposed to be the leader of the dwarves. I wanted to adventure with them in that world that they crafted for themselves. There was a slight problem though. As you can imagine, I was amongst the millions of people who wanted in and was quickly swept away by the volume of comments I got every single day. The other problem was the fact that my friend couldn't spell. Take a look at my username carefully nowadays. It's Chafe. At first glance, everything seems fine, except when you consider how chief is supposed to be spelled. It probably took me a good few months and someone else's eyes to tell me that there was a typo in my name. Oh, and don't forget, you couldn't change your username either. I was stuck with Chafe. Damn it. The transition between beta 1.7.3 and beta 1.8.1 was probably the most significant change I've been through. At least, that's what it felt like to me. Beta 1.7.3 is cool. It also marked the introduction of pistons, which were a mod so heavily requested, Notch just had to add it. Beta 1.7.3 showed what the community could do together, and the results of adding pistons still affect the game today. But Beta 1.8.1, the real game changer. You could go back to 1.8.1 now, and even if you've never played it before, you'd probably still be fine. Some of Minecraft's core mechanics were developed in 1.8.1. Go back to 1.7.3 and I'd reckon you'd start having some major problems. See, we were hyped. 1.8.1 marked the first time Minecraft would introduce naturally generated structures, sprinting, the hunger bar, bows that aren't machine guns, zombies that don't drop feathers, remove the player entity that we used to call Herobrine, and a brand new smooth lighting engine. And of course, who could forget the dreaded Enderman. When we heard that they could pick up blocks and aggro and looked at, we were scared. We didn't know what this meant. Theories came up. Could the Enderman build a staircase up for creepers and other mobs to kill you? Could it remove parts of your walls to allow skeletons to shoot in? How lethal would these guys be if all they needed to do to be aggroed was to be looked at? Big questions, and the hype was real. In the demo, these guys dropped diamonds. But then, when 1.8.1 came out, the Endermen were lackluster. To aggro them, you had to lock your cursor on them, so they really weren't that hard to avoid. They picked up blocks randomly, so it's not even worth mentioning. Overall, they're like a taller, faster, stronger, gimmickier version of a zombie. And I mean, they didn't even drop diamonds, they just dropped ender pearls, which at the time were useless. For me, I didn't really care though. The new lighting engine piqued my interest in making things look good, because for the very first time, I genuinely looked at one of my houses and thought, dang, that looks good. It was around this time that I started building Hemorrhage, or, well, Hemorrhage. You guys know it as Hemorrhage 1.0 these days. I remember logging into my friend's server after school every single day with my other friends, and we'd all just chill in this world. One of the more embarrassing memories I have of this world was of my crush back then, who built a massive guitar house, as well as a massive piano with note blocks in them, so when you ran across the keys, they would play the correct note. I like to think that I was regarded by my friends as the best builder. I put a lot of heart and effort into getting a massive village done. It's not really that big, to be honest. It was really nice to walk around in it, but I wanted more. See, I wanted life in the city, just like what Shadow of Israfel did. My friends lived in the houses, but nobody logs on to spend time in a house in Minecraft. People were more interested in doing their own thing, while I usually patrolled my city looking for things to do. 2012 comes around. Minecraft's full release comes around and the game takes off like never before. Couldn't be happier, right? Yes, laughing at the testificates in beta 1.9 pre-release was a good moment. Yes, wondering what the end portal does and wondering when the Aether would be added was all good fun. But the timer for my happiness was ticking and I didn't know it. Things probably started going downhill right about now. On the bright side, my most successful video to this day was uploaded in 2012. It was titled something along the lines of 12W08A How to Fly in Minecraft Survival Mode. And come to think of it, the only reason I chose to make Levisleer an animation was mainly because of Captain Sparkle's Fallen Kingdom that came out in 2012. That showed me that it's absolutely possible to tell a story not related to Minecraft but using Minecraft as a medium. I remember all the lyrics for the song in my head, just like how I remember all the lyrics for the official Minecraft song by Bobby Yarselik, who, by the way, just released a remaster. You're welcome, Bobby. Hope you're watching this. Love your work, man. Never stop. You too, Sparkles. Let's all share this video to Sparkles and get him to make a 10-year reflection video like this one as well. Anyway, one could say that the channel was doing incredibly well. Unfortunately, I really didn't. I think it's about this time that my anger issues really peaked, and I credit this to the way I was brought up. For every little mistake, whether I did it or not, I would get smacked in the back of the head. This basically taught me that violence was the solution to everything. If something didn't go my way, I'd fight. Someone pull an innocent prank on me, fight. Someone say something I don't like, fight. Someone reacted a second too slow in a game, fight. I was incredibly hostile, incredibly aggressive, and incredibly volatile. I can't even recall the amount of times I lashed out at one of my classmates for absolutely nothing. I mean, of course, people started straying from me. Who could blame them? Less and less people were playing with me on the Minecraft server. Pretty much all of them except my partner, Arcdoc. There was basically no one else I could be with. It was just my world, my city, Hemorrhage. It's now just a ghost town. But I had watched enough Shadow of Israfel and taken enough inspiration that I had already thought out a story for this world. And I mean, this entire dream of mine has existed since Chafe existed. The story had always been about Chafe defending the city of Hemorrhage. Always. Whether it be against mobs or other players. But Ark, he supported me during these hard times. If you ever wonder what TeamWnJ means, W stands for Wayne, J stands for Julian. My partner, Arcdoc, his real name is Wayne. 2012, I'd say, is the birth of Arcdoc Levisleer, the true hero of Lazuria. Not to be confused with Arcdoc the player, Arcdoc Levisleer. I'd say it's the birth of Chafe, too. No longer was I the chief of dwarfs, no. I fully embraced the typo, Chafe. That was going to be my character's name, Chafe Rahitan, the warlord of Hemorrhage. 2013 settles in. This is the year I started showing signs of depression. Something I wouldn't know for sure until speaking with a professional 3 years later. My friend shut off his server for good. Hemorrhage was lost. So were most of my friends. Things just felt numb for me. Every single time Minecraft updated, I was really excited, and I really wanted to try out all the new features in every new snapshot. Guys, check this out, they added horse into the game. Look, carpets, nether quartz, imagine what we can build, there's so many possibilities. But I had nobody to play with. Nobody else shared this same excitement that I did. It was a really low point in my life. I didn't feel like doing anything. I honestly just felt like a waste of space. I wasn't happy at home, I wasn't happy at school, and the one world I was happy in was taken from me. I wanted to die, really. But then I discovered a new world. A world that welcomed me with open arms. The world of anime. Through some connections, I met and shared memories with the early batch of admins at Anime Trending. Looking at you, Delty, Resu, Akun, the big three. Anime gave me the escapism I seeked. A new world full of interesting life and characters I could fall in love with, as well as a whole community of people I had never seen before in real life. Shadow of Israfel had stopped really abruptly at this point, but anime offered me that same experience and excitement. This certainly did ostracize me further from my classmates, but I was fine with that. These guys online that I met, they were relatable. They'd hear me out and talk with me. They'd take time to understand me. I could hear their stories too. We shared a lot of stories. For once, I honestly, truly feel like I made someone I can call a friend. It's also around this time when I developed my friendship further with one of the most important people in my life and for this channel, Harry.
My name is Harry Lam. I work in Level as co-writer of the series. I built all the cities with Julian Choi. I'm planning to help out in the animation, the character design, and modeling in the near future. Honestly, I've always wanted to do this because this is basically my creative outlet where I can do my own stuff as well, enjoying building while doing it for work.
We met through a swimming class and he told me about his friend Luca. I stopped him and said, "Wait, Luca Law?" He goes, "Yeah, how'd you know?" I grew up with Luca Law. Turns out they went to the same school. And when we discovered how small the world was, we were inseparable. There was also one close friend I had who would do a whole bunch of daring, adventurous things with me. We started doing parkour together and basically break all the rules in front of us. It was fun watching someone build their lives themselves. It showed me that there was always a different option, that when something is lost, we build things back up our own way. That gave me some determination, some hope. I told Harry about Hemorrhage 1.0, the hemorrhage that I lost, and I began teaching him how to build. Hemorrhage 2.0 was in construction, and so was the story of Levisleer. The real story, something that looks more like what we have now. I began learning to animate, and I would have never guessed that this would be one of my most important skills nowadays. Yeah, I mean, in the end, 2013 sucked. I became depressed and I became addicted to it. Just the whole numbness became kind of addictive. I mean, anybody who's depressed will tell you this. It's not that we feel sadness, disgust, or anger. It's nothing. It's just emptiness. To me, feeling nothing at all is better than feeling sad or angry. I was serious when I said that I was already dead. I had let go of my humanity and I was just kind of there. But even during those rough times, there was something keeping me afloat. This world we live in may not have been nice to me, and things may not have been going my way, but there was always one world I could turn back to every single day that would always be in my control. The world that I made for myself, in Minecraft. Not just the world, I mean the entire storyline of Levisleer, the universe that I crafted for myself. I felt more alive in here than I did anywhere else. This was a world where I could openly express what I felt. If I felt like building a new house with a new style, I'd do it. If it works, success, I'd feel happiness. And if it didn't, I'd feel frustrated and I'd try even harder. These emotions and this drive, it just didn't exist in my day-to-day life. In 2014, I released the very first episode of Levisleer. You can still watch it if you've donated to me on Patreon. It wasn't as successful as I would have liked it to be, but it still racked up thousands of views. People liked my story and they wanted to see where it went. They were interested and they were genuinely curious about this entire development. That really gave me hope. That really pumped me up. I also got really close to this other friend of mine. This friend frequently joined in on our server and played with us. They didn't build much or contribute much to the actual world, but they were extremely fun to be around with their constant trolling. There's actually a few screenshots of us goofing around. We had a secret butter base in Hemorrhage that has a whole modern style instead of Hemorrhage's medieval style, but we'd usually go in there just to muck around. There's a screenshot of this friend using World Edit to set the ceiling to lava, and everyone was freaking out when they looked up and saw lava pouring down. It's moments like that that really shines. And this friend was also in the same boat as me, and we'd support each other like nobody else would. This friend felt like the one person who understood me in a world that treated me like a stranger. This friend made me feel human again, so to speak. And the strangest part is that the only thing we had in common before we spoke was the fact that we both enjoyed playing Minecraft. I spent a lot of time with this person to try to work our way out of our numb, depressed state. We put our brain to use and solve problems. Hey, if nobody around likes us, that doesn't mean we shouldn't like ourselves. It means we gotta stand up for ourselves and be the first person to like us. When nobody does something, we ought to find out why and if it's a good choice, be the first ones to do it. We realized we didn't fit into the trends and we decided we'd set the trends. That's why I continue playing Minecraft for years and years and years. That's why I'm still working on Level now. I wasn't playing Minecraft because it was trendy, but because it was truly something special to me. It gave me what nobody else could. A literal universe in the palm of my hands. And this friend ultimately helped me develop bits of Level, and those bits are still present to this day. Whenever we encountered a problem in real life that we felt like was impossible to solve, we'd put our characters in the same situation and see how they'd work the problem out. We learned from our own creations. And man, this was powerful. I saw the potential in this world that I was working on. This wasn't just escapism for me, it was a remedy for my problems, for my friends' problems, a remedy for problems in general. This really pushed me to make sure the message was spread. I continued working on Hemorrhage 2.0 as well as the second episode of the animation for years to come. See, I was still depressed, but I understood how damaging it was for me and the people around me. It was toxic and spreads to anybody susceptible. After one of my friends committed suicide due to depression, it only made the situation realer than ever. I wasn't scared of dying, I was fine with dying, and I didn't feel there was any difference in life or death. That said, really made me keep an eye out for friends who were in a similar situation to me. There was more of a reason for me to get Level done. Knowing that one day I would not be able to speak with them again didn't feel good. I knew that if this trend continued, sooner or later it would be my turn, and Level would never be finished. Nobody would ever get to hear the wonderful adventures of the Wandering Knights. Specifically, the stories of Archdok Levisleer, the slime who overcame all odds and turned his fear to his greatest strength. Or Warlord Chafer Heaton, who must overcome his greatest weakness, but it is also his greatest strength. Or Rico Orleans, an assassin with vision-manipulating powers who learns to fight for the greater good. Or Kamzan Kukansen, a mage who is also the illegitimate son of the enemy nation's king. I mean, that's just our main cast. Every single character has a story and lesson behind them that I want to be able to share. 2015. I went to Canada and it gave me a chance to change my life. 2015 was probably the most fun I've ever had. I distanced myself from this really close friend of mine as I couldn't see them as often, but it was fine. We could still communicate online and I met another really good friend in Canada. Levisleer Episode 2 was now 2 years old and so was Hemorrhage 2.0. They were both still being worked on. And unfortunately, 2015 is also the year of the Great Purge. If you're a follower of my work, you already know where this is going. Hemorrhage 2.0 was stored on a single hard drive along with all my other files. Some girl in my film class asked me if she could borrow my sound effects library. I said yes, and I gave her my hard drive. See, she couldn't read English, and when you plug a hard drive into the Mac, it asks you if you want to format it to use as a backup drive. She clicked yes, and she accidentally formatted my entire hard drive. Poof! 2 years of work gone. It was fine though. Harry and I were definitely upset, but it was fine. We hadn't really built anything for a while because Mojang did us dirty. See, in Minecraft 1.7, we had access to these specific blocks with metadata, and we could customize the metadata in our texture packs to basically have infinite amount of blocks. Minecraft 1.8, however, removed all this metadata stuff. This meant that all the blocks we had in our world that used metadata magically vanished. We had a lot of repair work in our hands, and we really didn't feel like doing it. So when the world was deleted, we were sad, but not as sad as we could have been. From then on, we really didn't feel like rebuilding Hemorrhage from ground up again, so we took a break. I took the chance to really focus on developing the story of Levisleer. In the beginning of 2016, I was hit with the sad news that the friend that I looked up to so much, the friend that had done so much for all of us, had taken their own life. It was shocking that someone who I looked up to so much, someone who seemed impossible and could solve whatever problem that was thrown at them, would ultimately succumb to the pressure of their very own family. This friend of mine had a family who would constantly downplay all of their achievements and never let them do what they wanted. Every time she accomplished something, her family would be the ones to turn around and laugh behind her back, and that resonated with me. I thought she would be okay. She always played it off like everything was okay. So when the news finally hit me that this was the reason she wasn't online for the past few months, it was shocking. But this friend showed me enough. This friend made a lasting impact on my life because when they passed, I was more determined than I felt sad. Yes, of course I do miss this person. I do wish that they were here right now. I feel like a lot of my problems would be solved with this friend around, but they're not. And I accept that. The world keeps turning with or without us, and there are more and more people suffering just like us every single day. I and a few of my friends made a promise to our fallen friend that for as long as we're capable, we will do whatever we can to stop as much suffering as we can. Nobody, not even my worst enemies, deserve to suffer the way we did. And some people might say, well, if you think you're suffering, think of all the poor children in Africa. What are they going through? And I mean, I don't know what a poor child in Africa is going through. I don't know that because I'm not a poor child in Africa. I don't know how to help them. If you do, go do something about it. Am I gonna sit here and pretend that the things that we're going through is not suffering and that that's why I shouldn't help anyone? I am doing what I can do for the people that I know I can help. That's why I'm working on Levasleer. That's why I'm still working on Levasleer. Over the years, a lot of people have told me, wow, you're still playing Minecraft after this many years? You're still working on that same story after 7-8 years? They get surprised over the level of dedication that I put into it because all they see is a game. But when you look behind the blocks and you see what motivates me to do this, and you break down what Levasleer is truly about, I think then you start understanding it differently. The year now is 2017. It's been 2 years since Hemorrhage 2.0 was lost and 1 year since my friend died. I graduated high school last year, and I was now back in Hong Kong. At this point, I had been accepted into several universities with scholarships as well. So, for a 16-year-old high school graduate, that's pretty impressive. Now, the only problem was, none of these universities had dormitories for anybody under the age of 18. So, I was kind of stuck in Hong Kong for a little while. Somewhere during this time, 2016 or 2017, I actually shot a movie as an actor, which was an interesting experience and further pushed my interest in the filmmaking industry. After that, I was just kind of sitting there and I didn't want to waste my time doing nothing, so I applied for university in Australia, taking advantage of my Australian citizenship. In February of 2017, I moved to Australia and started university. Now, I just finished shooting that movie, so I really wanted to push being a filmmaker. And I mean, I loved making YouTube videos, so why would movies be any different, right? But as I entered university, Harry suddenly brought up Minecraft again. One day, he just kind of jokingly asked if we wanted to play Minecraft, and I said sure.
Was it me?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you said, hey, do you want to play Minecraft? Yeah.
I think I said it as a joke or something. Do you want to play Minecraft in 2016 or 17?
Yeah. It took us a while to get started, but we went in for a good old game of Minecraft. Just plain old survival, nothing special. Playing the game reminded me that I had an unfinished project that I really wanted to get done. That's right, it's been 2 years since I've touched Levasleer. I decided that since I hadn't uploaded anything to this channel, I'd capitalize on what the channel succeeded on and make more content in that direction. Some of my most successful videos on this channel back a few years ago were Minecraft animation related tutorials. In 2017, I began uploading videos to this channel with a focus of targeting Minecraft animation. Harry and I also decided that we've taken a long enough break, that we'd start working on Levasleer once again. And so it started. We placed the first block of Hemorrhage City 3.0. And the best part was, when I started doing research to see how many people still played Minecraft, I discovered that the 10th anniversary of Minecraft was in 2 years.
Yeah, we played for like a month or two before we started building the cathedral, and it looks great. Although we're not using that until Palisade gets built.
Yeah. At that point, we weren't really sure what we were gonna do. I wanted to jump in and just start animating episode 1 of Levasleer once again, from the very beginning, because my skills as an animator has developed quite a bit since the last time I've made an animation. But before I could make episode 1, I wanted to prove to myself that I still knew how to animate. So I made this short fight animation to check my skills. Looking back now, it's absolute garbage and I can't believe that this was 2 years ago. It was a good test, however, as it really showed my skills. This time when we were building Hemorrhage, things were different. Because for once, instead of me placing all the blocks and Harry watching me build, he had watched me for a good few years, and I would say that he had a pretty good idea of what to do. He started actively helping out, and I remember that when we first started, he was quite nervous. He didn't know if he was gonna build the right thing or not. He always asked me if something looked right, or how tall should this thing be, or how long should that thing be. At one point, I was getting tired of him asking me all these questions, so I made sure I laid out my entire system in a easy to follow guide. I made him go through that guide, and then afterwards, I made him take an exam, so to speak, and build his own house from scratch. Once he was able to do that, he proved to me and himself that he was a valuable builder to the team. Welcome to 2018. This is the year you guys heard of Levisleer. I think it's either about now or late 2017 that I started writing the first script for Levisleer episode 1. Just starting from scratch and literally writing things from the get-go. This time, I really wanted to take things professionally and write down a clear professional script. I read the entire script and the entire story with Harry and my girlfriend as well. I wanted to make sure that there was at least one other person who understood the entire story so that even if I wasn't here, they were still able to tell it. The entirety of Season 1's scripts took up more than 520 pages and 26 episodes. Quite impressive if I do say so myself. 2018 is also the year we finished up Hemorrhage. For the first time out of the 3 times we've built Hemorrhage, we finished it. Every single house was in place, all the walls were shut, all the gates were closed, everything was done. Harry and I were extremely proud. We've actually gotten it done. Within a little bit more than a year too, nonetheless. I looked at this and I knew it was time to start the animation. As I booted up my animation software, however, I noticed an advertisement on Facebook. PAX Australia. And I thought to myself, wouldn't it be cool if I got Levisleer to PAX? Wouldn't that be interesting? That was a long shot of an idea at the time, but it was worth a shot. I decided to send in an application to PAX to see if I could get a panel so I could talk about the creation of the biggest, most ambitious Minecraft project ever. Now this was in April of 2018. PAX was happening in October. I really only had 6 months to prepare something for an entire panel at PAX. The big dilemma for me was that if this didn't work, I would have wasted 6 months. And remember, my end goal that I set out to achieve in 2017 was to release Levisleer Episode 1 on Minecraft's 10th anniversary. Today. And clearly, that goal fell apart. If I were to spend 6 months working on this animation for PAX and it didn't get the results that I wanted, that's 6 months less that I can get into making episode 1 as perfect as it could be. I decided to take the plunge anyway, and eventually I got into PAX. My manager let me know where and when I'd be presenting my panel, and that it'd also be an entire 1-hour full panel. I was pumped, I was excited, I gave the announcement trailer to everyone here, and I couldn't wait to get started. I made my presentation and waited and practiced my lines every single day, and then PAX came, and it was such a disappointment. As I was getting set up, I asked the live streaming people, hey, so how is this thing gonna work? How is it gonna get live streamed? The live stream people just looked at me confused and said, we're leaving. I go, what do you mean you're leaving? My manager told me you'd be live streaming this. There are 20 to 30 people on my YouTube channel waiting to see this content. What do you mean you're leaving? But they were leaving. My manager had fed me the wrong information, probably unintentionally, but it was extremely embarrassing and upsetting to have to send that text out to my friends and my family saying, hey guys, guess the stream's not happening. It was very upsetting. It's very hard for me to describe what I was feeling without using any expletives. And I mean, this certainly didn't help my mood either. When I actually gave my presentation, there were about 10 to 12 people in the room, and I was not in a good mood. This audience was a complete stranger to my content, and not a single person knew who I was. I found it incredibly difficult for me to be who I normally am. I was stiff, my words were slurred, and I didn't get out the message that I wanted to give. That being said though, it wasn't all bad. I set out with a goal to change people's lives, to show them my way of doing things, the way that my friend showed me. So out of the 10 people in the room, one of them, Josiah, became an extremely important part of this channel. He's the one viewer that you see in almost every single stream. He became one of the most proudest supporters of my content, and that's exactly what I'm here for. I really want to build that human connection with every single one of my viewers, and that's why I do my live streams every single week. It gives me a chance to speak these words, these exact words that you're hearing right now, live to my audience in a conversational manner. That's something that I love, and that's something that I can always use to deliver that message that I want to deliver. So I spent months and months and months working on getting this prologue animation for PAX. I knew that I wanted whatever this animation was going to be related to Levisleer Season 1. At first, we had the idea of playing a scene from 20 years ago before Levisleer Episode 1. Now, Harry very quickly shut down this idea because it was way too far back, and we decided to make up and settle with an event that happens one day before Levisleer Episode 1. The Assault on Dire Shield.
Oh yeah, I'm scared, but it's what makes me stronger. I keep on fighting, draw my strength from the fear.
This is probably my most proudest piece of work I've ever created. Not only did I physically build the entire world that this animation sets place in, not only did my animation skills, which are entirely self-taught, get tested to the extreme, not only did I pull through months and months and months of hard work to finally get something done, and not only was this years of story and production finally manifesting into something feasible, but it was also the first time I'd ever done anything for myself. Making the Levisleer prologue showed me that I could be correct. That my intuition, my gut feeling, my will to do things can lead me in the correct direction. Nobody handed me anything. Every single part of the Levisleer prologue I got for myself. Of course, Harry was there, but he didn't give anything to me. Everything that Harry did, he did for himself as well. We never, for a moment in time, relied on anybody else to do anything for Levisleer. We never felt confused and thought, what should we do here? It was always, I feel like doing this. How do we get it done? Let's get it done. And the fact that I could finally seize control of what I was doing and do the things that I love to do and do them successfully too. That felt like major success. That was major success. It was beautiful. I embraced every single moment of it, even after my lackluster performance at PAX. And yet, they still doubt me. 2018 ended on a fairly positive note. I graduated from university at the age of 18, something that I'm sure I'll be proud of for years to come. Welcome to 2019, the year we're in now. After my PAX panel, after my major success, there were still people who made snarky remarks about Levisleer, who still kept on telling me that it was never going to work and that I should change and do something else, and that it's a failure. They look at my YouTube channel, they say that's a failure. It is actually quite reminiscent of what happened to my friend. I remember walking up to my parents one day telling them that I'd finally gotten 2,000 subscribers. I finally broke the curse. And they said, oh yeah, congrats, good for you. I turn around and then the next thing you know, they're talking about how I only have 2,000 subscribers and that I'm such a failure on YouTube and that I should really just give up. I remember telling them that through this affiliate program, I managed to get some sales. I'm earning money. For the first time, I've done something for myself and I've earned money for myself. They go, oh, that's nice. Good for you. Next thing you know, he's only making $13. What a joke. They said that. I remember looking at my YouTube stats, watching them go up and up and up on this graph. I was growing at a steady pace. And next thing you know, they're asking me when I want to give up. Because clearly, I haven't gotten anywhere. I mean, these are the parents that told me that they wish I was never born, or they wish that I was dead, or that I would live as a failure for the rest of my life. These are the people that we're dealing with, and I should have known better. I've been living with them for 19 years. But yet, I still succumb to them telling me that it would never work, or that nobody knows whether it'll work out or not, and that I'm wasting my time working on something that I like. But now look at things. Minecraft's 10th anniversary is around the corner and it's gaining popularity again. I'm not sure how many of you guys noticed, but the people who hate on the game don't actually hate the game. The only reason so many people quote unquote hate the game is because they want to appear as if they've grown up and they don't play children's game anymore, they play other games. But come on, really? Yeah, Minecraft is such a children's game. It's not like I actually want to play it, but I'm just scared of what other people will think of me because I'm so mature. Yeah, real mature. Minecraft's 10th anniversary would bring back a lot of players, and I knew this. I believed. I spoke these words long before anybody else did. But I listened to the doubters and I reevaluated my work. I took a step back and thought, you know what? These people are more experienced than me and I should listen to them. And very clearly, I've made the wrong choice, as listening to these voices have always led me to. There was no way I could get Levisleer episode 1 out in time for the 10th anniversary of Minecraft, which was the plan that I've stated 2 years ago. I should not have listened to the doubters and should have believed in myself even when only a few did. And I can only blame myself for succumbing to pressure. They may call me disrespectful for not listening, but what if I've already listened and I've already considered? And considered that I'm right? What if I've considered that after PAX, after what I've done for myself, I felt happier than I've ever been? The only thing disrespectful here is the lack of faith in me and the denial to see things from my perspective. Listen, I'm 19. I may be young and I may be stupid, but if there's one thing I know for sure is that nobody knows anything either. There is no doubt that I've lost what I had in the extremely powerful pilot episode that would have released on an incredibly powerful date, because of my willingness to listen and my failure to believe in myself. But that is not going to stop, because there is still time to make it work. Just because I've missed the 10th anniversary doesn't mean I'll miss the 15th, the 20th, the 30th. A happy ending depends on where you stop the story. Hey, this doesn't mean that you should stop listening. I know I'm not gonna stop listening either, because listening is learning, and learning is growth. And I am still young and very stupid. But I will stop listening to the doubters. And I suggest you do as well, because the only thing a doubter will ever tell you is their own limitations. For now, 2019 has brought us a pretty exciting update in 1.14. There's a lot of new blocks that we can build with, and seeing as we don't have a rush or a deadline to hit for Levisleer, we're just gonna chill and explore what the new blocks can do. Minecraft is way more than just a game for me. It's a tool that gave me a new world I could live in. A new world where I could express myself and truly feel free and happy. It offered me something that nothing else could. A universe for me to play with that leads to solutions to problems in real life. A platform for me and my friends to gather no matter where in the world we are. And most importantly, a path forward. Without this game, I would never be the same person. Without the experiences that I've been through, I would have never created the characters of Levisleer. I would never have Levisleer, period. And I would have never dug myself out of the hole that I put myself in. Without this game, I would be just like everyone else. No dreams, no aspirations, nothing to work towards. No goal in life. But it's because of this one game that I have a purpose. The past 10 years have been an emotional roller coaster, and I look forward to what the next 10 years has to offer. Thank you, Notch, Jeb, everyone at Mojang, Harry and Andre for sticking with me, my fallen friends, and those who wish to stay private. You know who you are. Eric, Rico, you too. And of course, everyone watching this video. If you feel motivated to make your own video just like this, then I encourage you to do so. Pull up a Minecraft song playlist and let that nostalgia hit you. Write your thoughts down wherever you want and read them out loud. Join in on this collab, we'll add you to the playlist. Everyone's story deserves to be heard. And yes, this is a collab. Many other YouTubers are making this same exact video with their stories. And you can check all of them out by clicking on this playlist right over here. Oh, before you go, make sure you share this video right now. You never know when you have friends or family members who are going through the exact same problems that we were going through. If this video will help them, then they deserve to hear it. And if you can resonate with anything that I've said, then subscribe now and hit that bell icon. Because with your support, I will show you and prove to you that this is the way to go. That this is the way forward. I lead by example. I hope you will too. Cheers.